Coffee on the counter, outline on the floor, sticky little notes say, girl, they want more. Laptop on the sofa, cables in and out, heart beating louder, then I hit record. On my mind, every time the red light shines, I'm talking like I'm talking to my best friend. Turn it up, leaning close, you can feel me through your headphones. We laugh, we cry, we do it all again. Like on my mind, yeah. You say you're in traffic, you say you feel stuck. Play me in your hallway while you clean up. Questions in my inbox, secrets in my DMs. I turn them into stories we both can live in. Like I'm talking to my best friend. Oh, my best. Turn it up, leaning close. You can feel me through your headphones. We laugh, we cry, we do it all again. Might on my mind. Tell me what you're scared of, I'll say it out louder. Turn your little whisper into something proud. Week after week, you're right here with me. We grow in the glow of the speaky. Might on my mind. Every time the red light shines, I'm talking like I'm talking to my best friend. My best. Turn it up, leaning close. You can feel me through your headphones. We laugh, we cry, we do it all again.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to episode number 4. Woohoo! Episode number 4. So excited that you are with me tonight. I am looking forward to this tonight's podcast episode number 4 with my very first guest that I'll be having on. I'm excited. I was prayerful when I selected her. So I'm excited to introduce her to you, the world, for the first time for some, and for others, you know her, she your girlfriend, right? So I was asking my husband before I got on air, I said, what does number 4 represent? And we discovered that number 4 meant new creations. I don't know about you, but I'm creating some new things with episode number 4. First guest, right? Creating new things. I'm excited about that. But come on in, come on in, come on, lean in close. We're talking to our best friends tonight, right? We're going to discover some things. We may laugh, we may hit on some things, because if you know me, my podcast is all about being 100% real. Like I said, this is not a church podcast. God will always be in the midst of it because it's who I am and it's who He is in me. But I'm a church girl. But this is not a church podcast. So there's going to be so many different things and topics and episodes and guests that are going to be able to complement, because there's people that tune in that are from around the world just to come past this YouTube station and listen to what's going on. So we want to give them something to hear, right? So excited that you're with me tonight. I told you before, when I'm doing this, I feel like I'm walking directly in my call. You know how good that feels to be walking in something that you feel like you're called to do? That's how I feel every single time I hit play and record on this podcast. I feel like I'm walking directly in my call, and I'm excited about it. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I have some beautiful, beautiful people that are already logging in. The numbers are going up, up, up. If you have not subscribed, please go subscribe. It's the @ Tracy Steele Ministries, and then press subscribe and you'll be in there with the rest of us, right? So excited, excited, excited. Let me know you can hear me. Just somebody put in there, we hear you, girl. I want to make sure my mic is working. Is this mic on today? Somebody let me know that you can hear me out there. So excited, so excited. So, as we get ready to prepare for what we're going to do today, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? She's waiting in this backstage right now as thank you. We hear you, girl. she's waiting backstage right now, and I just want to bring her on in a few minutes. But let me go ahead and say that I thank God for each and every one of you that tune in, because you don't have to tune in. There's so many different things you can be doing tonight on a Friday night at 6 o'clock. There's so many things you can be doing, but I'm glad that you're sitting here with me tonight. I had somebody ask me a question. Is this a podcast for just women? Absolutely not. This podcast is for women. I'm under the firm belief that anybody can help anybody and give anybody hope. And so, therefore, this is not just a woman's thing. You'll have some men that are on this podcast. I got some men lined up that are going to be so exciting to come on my podcast. And the thing about it is, they're men that are going to reach other men. So, we are excited about that. As my vision unfolds, like I said before you jumped on, my husband and I were looking up with the number four, because this is episode number four. So we were looking up what the number four means, and it means new creation, creating new things. And so I'm excited about creating new things tonight. I'm excited that I believe that some of you all are going to grab onto some hope tonight, that you may learn some things or be able to, she might say some things, or we might say some things that'll resonate with you in some type of way. So I'm excited about that. With my guest, Sister Tanisha. Well, I'm not even gonna say sister. She's my sister girl, Tanisha Trent. I'm going to be bringing her on real soon, guys. But I want you to get ready for the lineups that I have coming. It's going to be such an array of different women and men of all ages and ethnicity and backgrounds. I have some people that have asked if they can come on the show, and they are Pakistani and different things like that. And so I'm excited. We want to broaden who we are and our horizons and our conversations with people, right? So we got some things we're going to be doing as God gives it to me and download. But Tracy girl is excited. So without any further ado, let me see if I can bring her on here. Give me a minute, guys. This is my first time. Let me go ahead and invite her in. Let me see. Let me add her. Hey, are you there? Hey,
I'm
she's there.
here.
Tanisha's in the house. Welcome, 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 Tanisha. You are my very first guest, and I am so honored to have you on the show with me tonight. For those who don't know, I'm going to let her introduce herself, but this is one of my sisters. I've been knowing her. How long have we been going to Lighthouse? It's been about 25 years or so, maybe even more than that, that I've have been knowing her. And she's such an amazing woman. She's not somebody who you'll see out in the forefront or anything like that. Well, now she is, because she's being pushed to the forefront. But she's one of those women that if you get the chance to talk to her, you'll be like, oh my God, the jewels that are inside of her. And I'm so excited that she volunteered, well, she accepted my invitation to come on to be with us tonight. So without any further ado, can you guys give it up and clap for my sister girlfriend, Miss Tanisha Trent, all the way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Woo!
Thank you so much. It is an
You're
honor
welcome.
and a privilege to be on your podcast and to be one of your first guests. I have been looking up to you since I was a teenager. So I feel like very overwhelmed with joy and just excited to be on here this evening.
Yes, and we are so excited to have you. We are so excited. And so, to be honest with you, there's going to be some things that I'm learning about you for the first time, because when I called you and asked you to come on, I said, let's not even have a conversation, because I want to hear some things for the first time myself. I want to be like everybody else on this podcast and be like, ooh, let's go deeper into that. And so, I just want to yield you the floor for a few minutes. And as I uh, allow you to tell us, first of all, your name, where you're from, and who you are.
All right, so I'm Tanisha Trent. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the South Side area. Some may say I was a hood chick, but hey, that's where I'm from. I'm actually married, been married for almost 22 years now. I have four amazing children, three boys, and one daughter. I prayed for that daughter, and God answered that prayer. So I'm just me. There's nothing special or spectacular about me. I have a personality, so if I get a little silly on here, my apologies in advance. But one thing that I am going to do is make you smile if you're in my presence.
Amen. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that because we all need somebody in our lives who can make us smile. We got enough going on that'll make us sad. We need somebody who can make us smile. And this is only like an hour podcast or so. So I want to kind of jump right in. Not rush. We are not going to rush because I'm not on no time limit. This is my podcast. If I go 2 hours, those who are going to stick with me going to stay. If not, you can run back and replay. So we want to go ahead and take our time and dig into this. But tell me a little bit about yourself, Tanisha. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what makes you you. Give me a little bit about your background and things like that.
All right, so I would say that I was a young girl, kind of put in a mature role at a young age. My mom, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing this, she struggled with substance abuse. Her and my dad got divorced at a very young age. So I kind of picked up the role of like helping support my mom and basically helping with my siblings. There was a lot of conversations that we didn't have. We lived a lot of rough experiences. I come to find out as I got older that she really was doing the best she could for us with what she had. But it caused us to go through a lot of turmoil as kids. And so I found myself basically like most teenage girls that's not properly covered, looking for love in all the wrong places. So I started dating at 12 years old. I ended up getting in the hands of like wrong people, using their age because it was a lot of older people, basically to steer me in the wrong direction. I'm one of those typical cases of just like being a product of your environment. If I would have known better, I would have done better. And so I ended up becoming a teen mother at a very young age, which I don't regret. My son is amazing. We'll probably get into some more details about him, but I feel like that was a part of my life changing and God saving me, him actually coming into this world. But I kind of realize now that I'm older that had I would have had that guidance properly, my life would have turned out differently. But I believe that God did exactly what he wanted to do with my life and situation in order for me to be able to turn back around and help someone else that may go through what I have already been through. So that's just like a little of my backstory.
That's beautiful. And you know what? As you was talking, I was thinking that how sometimes until we become adults and mature adults and realize that we have kids of our own, then sometimes we look back and we kind of realize we need to give our parents some grace. You know what I'm saying? Because they were
Absolutely.
they were 100% just women or men learning their way through life, just like we had to take the time to learn our way. And sometimes when you're growing up and you see what they're into, you see what they're doing, you see their shortcomings, it's easy to get bitter and mad. But then when you become a parent and you look back and realize, oh my God, I didn't even do everything right, and oh, I could have changed that. Then you give your parents some grace and you be like, she was I know for my mom, she was a woman that was hurting, that was raising her own kids. And back then,
Absolutely.
they didn't have all that therapy and do all that and do all that. They were just women and men that were hurting, trying to navigate this life. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, last year was my first time actually hearing my mom's full story of like
Wow.
what she experienced in life. And that was around the time where my grandmother was transitioning. And I feel like my mom had got to this place where she wanted us to be able to understand her more clearly. And I can honestly say I was the kid that was bitter. I was the kid that was hateful. I was the kid that was blaming my mom for everything, until I ended up finding God and realizing like she really honestly was doing the best she could. And then last year when I heard her full story, I was thinking like, wow, how would she have been able to function properly, carrying the load of everything she had went through as a child, and then having these six children she has to raise through all that hurt, through all that pain, and try to show up as her best self. So Absolutely. Grace is definitely necessary, even as a parent. If people follow my life, they'll think, oh, she's this perfect parent. But no, I've made a lot of mistakes and I had to have those hard conversations with my kids. And I had to explain to them the same thing I feel like my mom was explaining to me in that moment. She truly was just doing the best that she can do.
You know what? That's some powerful stuff that you just said, because it kind of, when you give your parents grace and you have a conversation with them, it breaks your heart to know that your mom or your dad had to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, "Oh my God, mom, I'm so sorry that you had." It's almost as if you're talking to her like you would talk to anybody else that you give grace to or empathy to. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact that our moms were hurting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Our
Yes.
moms were hurting, and they didn't have nobody to reach out to for the most part. They didn't have what we have today. They didn't have a support system, and because usually their moms were raised in the hardness
Oh,
of
yes.
get over it, you be all right, and sweep it under the rug and let's keep moving. And I was telling somebody at work the other day, I said, my mother prided herself on the fact of I don't cry. I don't cry. When my dad died, and her mom cried, and my sister died, and her mom died, and my dad died, and my mom prided herself on the fact that she's so strong, she don't cry. And I believe that was because of what she went through in her life. But in the end, she was being diagnosed with early dementia, and I say it's because we're
Mm.
not meant to carry all that weight. We're supposed to release that, but they weren't
Absolutely.
taught that. And so when we see our parents, their age at the younger age, developing dementia and stuff like that, they never released it. You know what I'm saying? And so
Exactly.
they're carrying these things that their mistakes, and wishing they could have done better. And I tell you what, I used to say, I wish such and such was my mom because I would have been able to do
Oh,
whatever I want.
yes.
But baby, I'm so glad such and such wasn't my mom, because my mother instilled in me, whether it was through good, through bad, through life lessons, I wouldn't be who I am today if she was not my mother. You know what I'm
I
saying?
promise you, I feel the same. I feel the same. And
Yes.
so many of my personality traits that I would buck up against because they were similar to my mom, because I wanted to be in that, oh, why did you do this and that? I ended up realizing like there's some of my best attributes.
Right.
And when you were
Yes.
talking, it reminded me of another situation that my family faced with both of my parents struggling with their mental health. And
Mhm.
back then,
Yeah.
especially in our community, in the Black community, you don't really hear too much about, oh, this person is diagnosed with this, you need to get therapy for that. It's pray it away. It's, oh, that's in your head. But they both had severe mental health issues that they were trying to navigate through without the proper help. So putting all of that into perspective, like I couldn't tell you this, I couldn't talk to you like this maybe 10 years ago, but in these recent years of really understanding my own self and the different breakdowns I've had, it made me understand my parents even more. Because even my father, he was always present, but there was periods of time where he would be distant, and that would usually be when he was struggling with his mental
Mhm.
health and he just didn't want to expose his daughter. So his care was for us, but to us is, well, where are you? You know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's a
Wow.
lot of misconceptions you can make as a child when you're looking up to these adults and you're like, well, you guys are the ones that's supposed to teach me, cover me, but they're not properly equipped to do that.
Yeah, and in his mind, he was covering you by removing
Yeah.
himself. That's so good. That is so good. And I whenever my husband was in prison and my kids were little, and I was working full time and church full time and this full time and trying to make ends meet and everything like that. There was one time that I was driving from work and going home. I had the kids in the car, and when I tell you, I literally had a breakdown. I was at my breaking point. I was like, God, and the kids was in the back playing, all four of them doing what kids do, fighting and talking and laughing and blah blah blah. And I literally had to pull over to the side of the road, and I lifted the hood. I said, Mama, you be right back. I act like something was wrong with the car, and I lifted the hood up, and I just broke. I
Mhm.
cried because I said, God, I can't do this anymore. And I cried because I felt like I was at my breaking point. And I realized something. Sometimes we shield our kids from seeing us go through, and they need to actually see us go through.
Mhm.
So therefore they can learn how to process it, and also they can see mommy went through and she made it. But if we act like we're so strong all the time, when it's
Yes.
their turn, they don't know how to process the going through. They feel like I got to be like mom or be like dad because they were so strong when that's not a reality. Do you agree?
I totally agree. I feel like our vulnerability is necessary for them to see because it's not realistic to show our kids that we're not going to hurt, we're not going to cry, we're not going to have hard times, we're not going to fail. One of the things that was so important to me that my oldest had said to me when he turned 18 and he was leaving for college, and we always have family meetings. We're known for the family meetings. So we sat down at the table and he basically just poured his heart out because he has two younger siblings that we were still raising. And so it was him and his brother sitting there. I think my other son was like 16 at the time. And he was like, Mom, you didn't leave space for failure. And it like
Mm.
it hit me because I thought about how high the expectations was and how unrealistic it was. And because my son was such a high achiever and I was trying to prove because I was 16 when I first had him that I could be a good mom, that I can do this, that everything that everybody spoke over me wasn't true. I kind of took that out on him. And
Mm.
because he was such a high achiever, he's getting honor roll from the time he's in, first grade. And he's bringing me all these medals and he's bringing me all these awards. And he's well behaved and well spoken and well mannered. And it still wasn't enough. And I didn't leave space to say, oh, it's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if you don't know the math problem. I'm the parent. What is two plus two? What is, you know what I mean? Not even realizing that the pressure that I'm allowing from the outside people to put on me, I'm putting it on them. So yes, we have to be careful with that. And we have to understand like it's okay to show our kids things that are not perfect because the reality is we're not perfect.
So you was that parent that we see on Facebook on that one thing that they have whenever they
Johnny
say,
in the
if Johnny
house.
had two.
Johnny had. Y'all pray for Zealous. I got a 9-year-old, y'all. Y'all pray for him. I was homeschooling him, and y'all might have to get on me a little bit. If there was a hidden camera in that room, somebody help me. But yes, to be honest, I was that parent, but I was that parent in everything. In church, you had to sit there quiet. If any of the church members said my kids did anything, me and my husband was on them because we were young. We got married young. He took on a child that was not his young. So our whole existence in those teens and 20s was to prove everybody wrong. We didn't know that proving everybody wrong was at a detriment to our two older kids. And so absolutely I had to a reality check. Like you need to calm down. And your kids are enough the way that they are. And these people are not going to care after it's all said and done, after you damage under your roof, because we talk about, and I know this isn't just for Christians, but that's a part of me as well. We talk about our
Absolutely.
first ministry being home, but yet most ministers' kids are done the worst. And it starts with the parenting because we open up our kids for all this criticism, all this correction, all this you have to be perfect. And then we're trying to put on for everybody and be there for everybody, taking time away from just simply teaching them. Like we skip that part. It's just expected of them. And then we have to deal with the repercussions later in their lives.
That is so good. Can somebody put in the comments? I just need you to put this. If Johnny had two apples,
Johnny
and
had two apples.
everybody, everybody else will know what that means. Whoever seen that on Facebook, but
Yes.
that's so good that your son said that to you. That you left no room for failure.
No
Because
room.
I heard T.D. Jakes say years and years ago, and it helped me. He said, "Failure is the womb to success." And
Mm,
when I tell you, when he said that, I carried that every time I did anything that I failed in, because I've had so many failures, but I carried that and I said, this is I can either let it be my womb to success, or I can let it be when I drag and pity myself. You understand what I'm saying? Because
absolutely.
everybody who's successful had failure. I
Oh,
remember
yes.
Michael Jordan talking about how he was cut from the team and how he was, but now he's Jordan. He's got the best shoes. He got this. Everybody's talking about he's the GOAT. Why? Because he's Michael Jordan, but he failed
He
miserably
fails.
at some point. And that was really good what your son said. And that he was able to say that to you because most parents have such a guard up that they can't hear the constructive criticism about themselves.
Right, right. One of the things that I think helped that, just in case other parents may be struggling with that, is I always was quick to say, I'm sorry or I'm
Mhm,
wrong. Like,
mhm,
even in childhood, if I would do something that was over the top, because I suffered from like postpartum and all these different types of things, I would always say, I'm sorry. I would always say, parents are not always right. So
mhm,
even though I was like, stern and, more aggressive, I wish I was the gentle, nurturing mom. I really wish that I was. Unfortunately, I didn't receive that. So I didn't know how to give it. Like, even when my husband would want to hug, I would be like, hey, get out of here, batting him off, just because I was really edgy, used to having a fight all the time. And so I struggled with knowing that about myself. So I would try to correct it along the way. So if you do find yourself that kind of parent, it's never too late to, restore and soften that relationship. And so as they got older, I started to see myself. Like, that reflection of yourself in the mirror is a tough thing to receive and to be honest about. But I started to see it, and I started to realize, because I ended up having an when I tell you my daughter is sensitive, I mean, if you blink at her wrong, she might cry. And so having her, I realized, because when you have sons, there's this false notion that everything has to be hard and tough. But
mhm.
when you have a daughter and they're so emotional, you realize, like, wow, I got to ease up a little bit. I got to be a little bit more gentle.
Right.
And I think that was God's way of showing me, like
Yes.
putting a reflection in front of me. Like, well, how do you think as a little girl she feels? Like, this is how you said you felt. You were crying in a closet and nobody knew. So why are you doing these same things and repeating the same generational curse? So it kind of softened me a lot, actually.
Wow, that's really good. If you're enjoying this interview, could you put in the chat, just put this is good. This is some good stuff. If you're enjoying Tanisha Trent tonight, just put this is some good stuff, because that's a good nuggets that you're dropping. Because of the type of home that I was raised in, it wasn't a home of just, oh, everybody love. It wasn't a Barney type of love, like I love you. It was not that. That was just
Mhm.
not what I had. And so when my husband and I got together, I didn't realize that I don't know how to love. uh, in essence, you love somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Right.
like, I love you, but I don't know how to love. And I did not realize that. And it took years for me to literally, and I read First Corinthians 13. I read all that. I know it logically, but I did not know how to love, because when you love, you have to give yourself to somebody. You have to make yourself vulnerable to somebody. And I did not know how to love. And even now, sometimes we've been together for 40, next year will be 40 years that we've been together. And I always have to check in to make sure that I'm loving right. Am I loving him right? I know I love him, but I got to make sure that I'm not putting that guard back up, because that's easy for me to do. It's easier for me to put a guard up than it is for me to be vulnerable. You understand?
Mhm.
No matter
It's
how
like
long we've been
it's like a
together.
protection. It's like a
Yes.
protection of yourself, because what I've learned through going to therapy is the first people that you learn how to express love with is your mom, your dad. If you
Yep.
got siblings, your siblings, the people under your
Yep.
roof. And so if
Hmm.
that's a rough process, your
Yes.
expression of loving and receiving love becomes that same expression, where it's like, you don't really know. Like, I don't know what it feels like to just get a compliment and not think, what's at the other end of that? Like, are you
Right.
really just saying, I'm pretty,
Right.
or are you really just saying I'm smart? Or is there some back door that you're
Hmm.
trying to get in because that's just what you're used to?
That's
So
what
it's
you're
like, let
used
me
to.
protect myself from whatever this is that you're saying you're giving me, when it's supposed to be healthy, when it's supposed to be warm, inviting. It feels like, oh, this is uncomfortable. This is odd. You too nice. Like, I feel like I married Barney. Like, he was extremely nice. He's smiling all the time. He got candy and his candy is safe. So it kind of makes you feel like, what is this?
But isn't that amazing how God puts that together? Because anybody
Total
who know my
opposite.
husband, Anybody who know my husband know that I tell people all the time, it's a family reunion with him all the time. Like he's loud all the time. That's what he came from. He came from a family of just good stuff and love and family reunions. And God puts that together and balances us both out. I love
Mm.
how God does that because he was able to make me soft. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
He was able to bring out the softer side of the woman of me. And I was able to help him understand, okay, maybe you need to, not be so open in that area. We
Yes.
complement one another. So it's not just one sided, like he taught me how to love. No, he taught me how to love, and I taught him how to cover himself.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, this mic is on and it's hot, y'all. I don't know if y'all
Oh
feel it,
yeah.
but this mic is on and it's hot. Let me ask you a question. If you had the opportunity to go back and tell your younger self anything, what would you tell the younger Tanisha?
I would say that I'm enough just as I am. I would say I am not what was spoken over me. Because I was a protector, my brothers got taken by CYS really young when we were really young. And I used to be the protector of the household, so the fighter. And so a lot of things were spoken over me. You're disrespectful. You're going to be a HOE. I'm sorry, I don't want to use verbal language, but you're going
You're
to be this
fine.
and you're going to be that. So I would tell my younger self that is not true.
Mhm.
That I'm enough just as I am, that I am smart, that I do have a purpose, because all of those years I did not believe. I believed what was being spoken over me. And it started to like manifest itself in my life.
Do you, because words have power, and I don't really think that people realize how much power words actually have. The thing about it is God used his words to frame the earth. He said, let there be, and there was this and there was that. He didn't, that's all he used was his words. Words are so powerful that they frame our lives. And so when we speak things and when we hear things, they literally become a part of who we are. And those things have to be broken. Like from
Yes.
the root, they have to be pulled up because they take root in our lives. They literally take roots and they spring up and they become what the person said that they will be. And sometimes it can take years for those things to be rooted up, even for you to realize what it is, because something ain't right, but you don't realize it. You can't call it by name until God puts a spotlight on it and you say, oh, that's what that is. Let me pull
Yes.
that up by the root. And so, I think that that's really good what you just said about what you would tell yourself, because that's so important, because what you would tell yourself then, we got some younger girls now that need to hear that.
Yes.
Like
And can I
they,
answer that first?
please
I would
do.
also tell myself to not stop talking, because my
Mm,
mouth is what would get me in trouble, because I was always in that protecting mode.
yeah.
But I also realized that there's power behind the gift that God has given me to use, and it requires me to speak. And
Oh,
so I know now, while throughout all of these years, me speaking would always be a problem, because the enemy wanted me to stop speaking young, so that God wouldn't be able to use me for what he called me to do now. And so I would tell myself, no, don't be quiet. No, speak up, speak
mhm,
truth, speak
mhm.
life, because
Yeah.
that's what I naturally am. I'm naturally a positive person. I'm naturally an encourager. If God shows me something, I'll normally be bold enough to say it. But when people attack that and they make it a negative, then I would
Mhm,
get quiet, or I would go
mhm.
ghost, and I realized that I wouldn't feel fulfilled. Like I wouldn't feel like me.
Right, right. That's good. So when you said that you had to be the protector, because if you take on that role as a especially as a young person, it can kind of make you hard. Like you said, you were a fighter, so that
Yes.
automatically makes you like this all the time,
Yes.
even on the inside. So tell me when you became soft. Tell me how, because you know
Um,
how people say I'm in my soft girl era and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Tell me how did you go from being this hard, I gotta protect, I gotta fight? How did you go from being that to learning how to be in your soft girl era?
I would say when I learned that I was safe, and
Ooh.
that was with my husband. I gotta give him a lot of credit for that, because he's very gentle and he's very safe.
Mhm.
My mom shares this story all the time. So I probably had to be about 11 or 13. And my mom was looking for one of her boyfriends. And, she took me with her. Unfortunately, she took me with her. And I remember taking on my mom's anger. And like I said, I probably was like 11 or 12. I might have been younger. And when we found him, he was with someone else. And my mom was so hurt. And I'm like, oh no, you're not going to do that to my mom. So you got this 12-year-old. Now, mind you, back then I wasn't this big, y'all. I was about, probably like 95 pounds. But I was a fighter. I was tough. And so I jumped out. I dragged the lady out the car. These are adults. I'm a kid. I dragged him out the car, got my mom's car back, and we went on. And when I thought about that, I'm like, that was not okay. Like I was a child put in such a dangerous situation. Like, what if the woman would have fought back? Now granted, my mom had my back too, but
Right.
still, I shouldn't have been in that situation. So if I can give a little story about how I met my husband, maybe this will all
Absolutely.
make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, bring it
So
together, girl.
my to fast forward back, my mom ended up getting delivered from the drugs. So she went to this church and she came home completely different. It was like night and day. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. Normally people like go to rehab or they, take a long time. No, she came home, she told us about God, and she said she was changed and her life was really changed. So it sparked curiosity. So I goes to this church that she's going to because I'm like, I got to understand who this God is that she's talking about. And I see this boy on the drums, and he has this old fashioned afro, which I have no idea why they all had afros. And I pointed and I said, Mom, that boy on them drums is cute. And she was like, you never know, that might be your husband one day. And I said, Mom, I just said the boy's cute. I don't want to marry the boy. Mind you, my mom is a prophet as well. And so she said it jokingly, but years later, this man ended up being my husband. And so I went from tearing the church down because nobody wanted me with him. So I was fighting females, I was
Wow.
fighting grown-ups, I was fighting and I'm talking about at the church. Terrible. I still apologize to this day. I would not advise anybody to be fighting in the house of the of the Lord. But unfortunately, that's my story. And
Right.
so, but he never stopped reflecting the love of Christ. So when everybody was saying she's unsavable, she's this, she's that, he would speak so much life. You're going to heal. You're going to be okay. You're going to make it. You're going to love. You're going to forgive. But he would show it. So he would care for people. He would love on people. He wouldn't disregard you. Like he didn't throw you to the wolves and say, you're unsavable. God can't do nothing with you. And so when I got with him and I didn't have to fight, and I didn't have to
Mm,
yell, and I didn't have to go in the neighborhood and look for where he was, that's
mm.
when I started to change. And I started to realize, wow, I'm okay. I can get out of this fight. Like I can literally be safe with him. And it started helping me be a little softer. Now it took years, but it did start helping me develop that soft girl era.
That is so good. And if I know most of y'all might not know who her husband is, his name is
Yes.
L.C. Trent. When
Oh
I tell
yes.
you that this man is just amazing, he is exactly what she said. If you see him, he gonna be smiling.
He's gonna
That's
be
what he gonna be
smiling.
doing. That's what he
And
gonna be
that's who
doing.
he genuinely is. Like he doesn't pretend that joy. Like I
No,
live with that on a regular basis.
right?
I always tell him on Valentine's Day, I married love. He literally is patient, kind, long suffering. Like everything that the Bible says love is, that is him. Now, don't mess with his family. Because you're going to
Hello,
see a little bit of
because
Peter come out, but he definitely shows love.
absolutely. You know what? This is so good. I am enjoying this so much because listen. I told this story before. Whenever not when my dad had died when I was 7. So the man that my mom decided to remarry, first of all, he didn't want kids, and my mom had 4 daughters. And so when we moved into his house, we were never introduced to domestic violence and stuff like that. We were little girls who we were little prissy girls. We drank our milk with our finger, with our thumb. We was those type of girls. We talked proper. We dressed with our little socks on with the frillies. That's how we grew up when my dad was alive. But when my mom married this man, life changed, and
Mm.
we were introduced to domestic violence. And so my mom had 4 daughters, and so we would all sleep with something under our beds because when she called our names, we had to get whatever we had and help her fight him. And so
Yep.
that's who we became. And each one of us girls took something different from it. You know what I'm saying? We
Yes.
all took something different from that. My one sister, she, she got involved in domestic violent relationships continuously. That's what she attracted to her. My other sister, she got on drugs. My baby sister, she died when she was 13, so we don't know what she would have became as an adult. And we didn't let her fight anyway because she had heart problems. So we had this, and I became the violent one. Like I
Yep.
loved violence. I craved violence. I loved it. So I became a fighter. I was always suspended from school. I was just a fighter. I needed to fight. I think that's why I was in shootouts, and that's why I was in.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, when God saved my husband and myself, He saved me first, because He knows if He wouldn't have saved me first, if He would have saved Ty first, Ty loved me so much, and I loved violence so much, and I loved the life that we lived before salvation because it was full of action. I would have pulled him back out
Yes.
because he loved me
Yes.
so much. So God saved me first, and then He allowed him to come along. So therefore, we can both continue to be in this together. But that made me hard. And God
Hmm.
gave me my husband to bring me soft. You know what I'm saying? To make it
Yes.
okay to not have to fight, to make it okay to be okay, just to relax, just
Yes.
to chill. And so I thank God, and I'm still learning it. Sometimes my husband we can be in the house and he'd be like, I'm so proud of you, because he knows me. He knows that at the drop of a hat. And I asked God, how could you make me a pastor's wife?
I be
Me.
saying the same thing.
How did
Out of
you got
everybody.
jokes up there in heaven, because how could you make me? Because at the drop of one, somebody doing something wrong, I
Yes.
thought that I would be the person who's like, I will tear this church up.
Oh yeah.
But God has made it so that He did something in my life so good that that's not my first reaction.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I don't want the devil to try me, because I don't know if that reaction might happen. So
There you go. There you go. Yes.
So this is really good, Tanisha. I'm so glad that
Mhm.
people are getting to know you. And before we leave, I want you, if you're comfortable, to give your information, because somebody might literally want to reach out to you. Because one thing about it is, we never know what somebody else is struggling with and dealing with, and they're wondering, who can I talk to? Who can relate to me? So when they see somebody like you on the podcast and they see, oh my God, I need her information. So before we get off, but I want you to tell me about a time in your life when you literally thought you were not going to make it. Help somebody, give somebody that kind of hope, and tell somebody a time that you were like, I'm not going to make it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in 2023, now I want to let you guys know that I kind of struggled with my mental health since I was 12 years old. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize it was because of like all the childhood trauma, all the things we were going through. But in 2023, I was homeschooling my two children. I had lost over, I want to say, 26 loved ones, all ages. And it was very, very hard for me to cope. I had a lot of ministry pressure on me. Me and my husband's been in ministry since 18. He started off, we were youth workers, then youth
Mhm,
pastor, deacon. No, I'm sorry. He became a deacon, then a youth pastor, and then now he's a pastor in our ministry. And
mhm,
so we never really had like a normal marriage or young adult life, just always a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations and different things like that. And so I was under so much stress that one of the mornings when I went to go wake up my kids and they wouldn't wake up, we were dealing with real bad discrimination in the school district. I tried to run for school board. I worked in the school district for 3 years, and I just felt like I was fighting on all ends. I was fighting in my family, fighting in my household.
we lost Tanisha, and this was going to be good. That ain't nothing but the devil just mad about what she was about to say, because
A
I
while
really
just to
believe
see
that.
if we come back on there. Then we have a technical.
Yeah, you back?
This is this is how powerful that story is.
I just said that. Yeah,
Because
go
we're
ahead,
going to
girl.
save some lives. We're going to
I
save
just
some
said that.
lives this
Yes.
evening. We're going to save
Yes.
some lives. So peace be still in the name of Jesus. But I had woke up that morning and I tried to wake the kids up and they would not wake up. And I said, I cannot take this anymore. So I went in my room and I took the whole bottle of pills and I laid in my
Mm,
bed.
my God.
And I hear this little knock on my door because it was already done. The task was done. I was going to kill myself. I was going to lay in my bed. Prayerfully, the kids didn't find me because I locked the door or whatever the case may be. And I hear this little knock. And mind you, this is the same little knucklehead I was trying to wake up prior to this. They would not get up. And all I heard was this little voice, Mommy, I need you. And I do
Mm,
not play about my babies. When I heard "Mommy, I need you," it was the wording that put me back in my right mind. Even though it took me a minute to get all the way there, I opened up the door. I went to my older son that was there. I let him know what I did. They had to call the paramedics. I ended up being hospitalized. A lot of people in the church did not know that all of this was going on. A lot of my family did not know because remember I told you there was different feuds and altercations between like everybody. And so my husband kind of kept it private. I was in there for about 2 days and just not myself. My son ended up flying home from college, and there was this whole thing. And I realized that I wasn't super, like that it was okay to need help. It was okay to take a break. I had to take the pressure and the expectations off of myself. And I needed God in that moment. And it was a journey. I mean, I did not think I was going to get my mind back. At that point, I can honestly say I literally lost my sanity. And I'm a very clear, thorough, witty person. Like my senses are really heightened. But in that moment, they were not. And I made a decision that could have like went a whole different way. But it was that knock on the door that it saved my life. And a couple months later, we were all having a conversation. And I was talking to my 9-year old, and I believe that God put him in my life. Like I had a name for him years before he ever existed. That's Zealous. You'll hear, if you're ever on my social media, you'll hear about him a lot. But he said he felt like he heard a loud voice saying, "Go get your mom." And I
wow.
believe that voice was the voice of God because he said it was loud, it was deep, and he went and he listened to the voice. I didn't prompt him to say this. My husband didn't prompt. He said it out of nowhere. He said, "Mom, I heard this loud, deep voice say, 'Come get you.'" And he came and got me.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Ooh, child, thank you for sharing that. And that's why the
Absolutely.
internet, that's why the internet went out because
Shut
he
down.
didn't want nobody to hear that part right there. Because somebody needs that. Somebody
Modern
needs,
day voice of God.
oh
Modern
my
day
God.
voice of God. He described it the same way it's described in the Bible. That's how this, he was 7 at the time, 7 years old. And come to find out, he made the phone call. My 7-year old made the phone call about what was going on. He followed me in the room with my son, and he called my husband and told my husband he needed to get home soon. And then he called 911.
Wow. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad. I am so glad that that happened because if not, I would not
I would
have
have
you
missed
here.
so much. Yes, there was so much to live, like so much to live for. I got to see the two beautiful granddaughters be born. I got to see my son go through this professional career and games and graduate from, like so much would have been missed just
Yeah.
by allowing that voice to keep speaking what it was trying to speak to me so early on. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for mental health, suicide ideation, church pressure. I have a passion for pastors' wives. I feel like pastors' wives are done the worst when it comes to ministry. There's not enough love and grace and concern given to them because this just you need to do this, you need to be available for that, and they don't understand the pull that it takes to
Yes.
show up every day,
Yes.
to share your spouse, to share your children, just to never rest. Like at that time I wasn't sleeping well, because remember, I lost 27 loved ones, but my husband was burying some of those people. So
Yeah.
we're playing the role of the loved ones and the ministerial
And
staff
the
at the same
yes. Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
planning
Wow.
these funerals. We're writing obituaries. And these are people we love. These are people we were with every
Yes.
day. You know what I mean? So I have a passion with bringing awareness to that and the effects that it can have on the family. Like, we're not gods. We're not invincible. We have emotions, we have feelings. It's important to allow space for women to be women and show that without criticism, without
Yes.
saying, "Oh, you're supposed to be a woman of God. Aren't you the pastor's wife?" Yes, I am, but I cry and I'll punch you
Yeah.
all in one.
And I'll punch you.
I'll cry and I'll punch you, and then I'll hug you. I'll
I
say sorry. I'll say
love
sorry,
it.
but don't play.
I love it. I love it. Tanisha, you are helping people. Even in the comments, you are helping people today. I thank God for that. I thank God. Can somebody put in the comments, there is so much more to live for? I just need you to put that in the
Yes, there
comments.
is.
Just to agree
Mhm.
that there is so much to live for. I say all the time, we see people making permanent decisions for temporary
Yes,
situations, and
yes.
there's so because that voice can be overbearing when the enemy is really trying to flood you and to wear you out and to that can be
Hmm.
so over. And I thank God for speaking to your son. I thank God for the words, "Mommy, I need
I
you."
need you.
That right,
Hmm.
that right there. That right there is
Hmm.
awesome. So listen, people see you now. They see you on your social media and all this stuff like that, and they see you who you are now. Um, but tell me how you went from surviving to thriving, because there's a difference. There's such a difference from in just surviving to thriving. Tell me, give me a few minutes of tell me how you went from just surviving to thriving.
So I had to understand that these battles were not mine, and that there's principalities and there's darkness behind a lot of things that we face and go through. And so I put the battle back in the hands of God. I also learned how to better care for myself as a wife and a mother, because I
Mm,
had I was trying to be the best wife, the best mother, overcompensating, and not taking care of myself. Like, not taking care of my mental health, not taking a break, not asking for help when I needed help. And so all of these things were brought to my awareness once I actually took time to get help for myself. And I had to realize it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's almost like when the plane is going down, they want you to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can assist someone else. If you walking around maskless trying to give everybody else their oxygen. And so I learned not to do that. That is one of the reasons why we're on vacation, because it was a lesson for my entire household of taking care of ourselves, taking breaks, enjoying life, and not just trauma, trauma, trauma. Because ministry could
yes.
be traumatic. Like, you can hear about a situation and carry that situation home just because you care. It's not one's fault, because that comes with the territory. But what do you do to help yourself after you hear that information? What do you do to replenish yourself? So those were the things that I learned to get to where I am now. I know what I can bear. I know my limits. I'm not people pleasing anymore. I think turning 40 helped that as well, because they say
Ooh,
when you reach 40, you start to realize, a lot of those people during that time, they weren't compassionate at all. They were on to the next thing, next
yeah.
expectation. And I
Yeah.
guess it just put things into perspective for my household as a whole.
That's good. And because you said something very important that everybody listening right now and those who will listen in the future, those who will play it back, you said something so important. You've got to take care of you.
Got
You
you.
can't be so busy taking care of everybody else that you don't take care of yourself. That's so, and a lot of us are guilty of doing that. Men and women. It's not just women who do it, men and women. We're so busy caring for everybody else and tending to everybody else, and we're wearing ourselves down without even realizing. And pretty soon, like I said before, the tree don't fall down all at once by itself. There's a chopping away that
Oh,
happens.
yes.
And before you know it, it's timber, it's going down. And that's happening in our lives of the people who are listening now. That's what's happening in the lives of people. They're being chopped away and they haven't stopped to notice it yet. They feel
Mhm.
it, but they haven't stopped to address it yet. So I encourage everybody that's on here, that's listening, that will listen, stop. Just stop and understand what your mind and your body, your spirit, your emotions are saying to you. Withdraw. Take some time for yourself. Take care
Oh,
of you,
yes.
because even the strongest person can fall prey to suicidal thoughts.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Even the strongest person, it don't matter
Absolutely.
your
I,
title. You
and
can be
and
the,
I was considered that strong friend, that strong family member. Oh,
yeah,
she's okay. And I gotta admit, I hide behind humor. Most of the time when I'm struggling or I'm hurting, I'm laughing or I'm making other people laugh. But that's not really a good thing. Like, I should be more comfortable with saying, today I'm sad. Today this is hard. And be okay with sitting in that. Be okay with being human. We have to allow people to be human, no matter how they present themselves. If they have a vulnerable moment, give them that vulnerable moment so that they're able to cope better and in a healthier manner, because some people, they result to alcohol or they'll result to drugs, but
absolutely.
then there's some people that result to suicide, and once that happens, there's no getting that person back. So I always try to remind people, a bad moment doesn't equal a bad life. A bad minute or hour can pass. You know what I mean? It won't last always. And I repeat those things to myself and I try to share that with other people. It's okay to cry. It's okay not to be strong. We don't have to be strong all the time. We have a God. We have a support system. Most of us have a support system around us, even if it's friends. Your support
Yeah,
system might not always be family, but
that's right.
tap into it. Don't put
Happen.
on face. Don't put on a mask. Be vulnerable and allow people to see that so that they can understand, what, you're human too. And they can also deal with life better. They can understand when they have a weak moment, it's not that they're weak, it's that they're human.
I like that. Somebody put in the comments, I need you to put tap into it. She said that those are some powerful words. If you got it, not if, but everybody has a support system. Tap into it. You don't got to do this by yourself.
Tap into it.
Yes, one of the pastors here in the city, Pastor T. Harrison, he a friend of ours, he had I think it was a conference or a service for men, and this can go for men and women. It's okay to say I'm not okay.
That's right.
It's okay to say I'm not
That's
okay.
right.
I don't know why we don't know how to say that. How you doing? I'm okay. It's okay to say I'm not okay. You understand? We got to be able to
Absolutely.
say I am not okay at all. So, um, as we get ready to close, Tanisha, this has been so good. This hour went so fast, and I have enjoyed this so much. You do not understand how much I've enjoyed this. I just love you so much, and I
Thank you so
enjoyed
much for
this
having me.
for sure. But as we close, as we about to end this part of the session, I want you to just take a few moments after all the things that you have said, because you've shared some really, really good stuff. And like I said at the beginning, this is not just for women. This podcast is for every single person who will ever come past this podcast and listen to it. So that's how come I don't want to always say women, 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 because this is for everybody. So if you could take a few minutes and simply encourage somebody and give somebody some hope today, what would you say to them? And I just need you to take a few minutes just to give some hope, because this is a time that people are hopeless and they're
Yes, yes.
struggling, and hopelessness is at an all-time high, whether it's in the church, out of the church. I don't care where you at.
Absolutely.
Hopelessness is creeping in. So could you just take a few minutes and just kind of give some hope to people?
Oh, absolutely. So you were created in the image of God and you have purpose. You are important if you weren't important, the enemy wouldn't try to make you think otherwise. So you stay strong in each situation, but also stay vulnerable at the same time, knowing that you are not alone through no situation you may face, that God is walking with you, that He's going to guide you. Some things are just to teach you, shape you, build character in order for you to reach your purpose that you were created for.
Beautiful, beautiful. Listen, Tanisha shares some very, very, very private and transparent moments with us that can help other people, that you can hold on and grasp and understand that, wow, if she made it through that, I know I can make it through. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, if you're comfortable with it, how would they be able to reach out to you?
Well, you can find me on my favorite platform, which is Facebook. I'm Tanisha Trent. You can see my name posted along this picture screen. I also have a page called What About the Pastor's Wife? I would love for you to join me, watch some of the content, be inspired, be encouraged, and laugh a little bit.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So if you want to reach out to Tanisha, she gave you her platforms that you can reach out to her and just kind of because sometimes people don't want to say things, comments right here on here. They may want to
Right.
talk to you personally and reach out to you and maybe kind of just connect with you and network. And so I thank God for you being on here today. I was so excited about tonight, and my excitement, every expectation has been met with you. I know you're on vacation and
Oh,
you
thank
took
you.
time out on vacation to come
Oh,
sit with us
yes.
on the podcast and join us. And I'm so happy. Tell Elsie that I said thank you for sharing you with us tonight. But
Oh, absolutely. I'll let them know.
but thank you everybody for coming on tonight. Thank you for those who will drop by and just watch this. Click, share, subscribe, reach out to my sister friend Tanisha. Trust me, y'all ain't heard nothing.
Yes.
Y'all, that was just a little bit that y'all heard.
That was a little
So
bit.
just a little bit. Just a little something,
Just a little
something.
bit.
So the mic was on tonight, and the mic was definitely hot and jumping. And until the next time that we turn the mic on, I just want you to be encouraged. Understand what she said. You are not in this by yourself. Tap in to the support system that you have. Take some time for yourself to relax. Pull back. If you ain't got money to go on vacation, pull back and stay in the house. Tell everybody no. It's okay
Oh,
to say
absolutely.
no.
Stay. It could be a staycation.
That's it. It's all right to say no. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Oh, that's a song. Who sang
Mhm.
that song? That's an old song. uh, anyway, I ain't gonna be able to do it. So take care of yourself, people. Until the next time we jump on, it'll be the last Saturday in August. I am looking forward to that. We're gonna have another special guest. But until then, hey, yo, keep hope alive. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep thriving, not just surviving. We got too much to live for, right? We got too much to live for.
Yes.
Tanisha, finish enjoying your vacation. I love you, girl. I'll see you when I see you. Tell everybody I said
Thank
hi.
you.
And that's it for today, y'all. That's a wrap. God bless y'all. Until August, peace.